You spend an hour tweaking prompts in Midjourney and the image still looks off, while someone on Krea iterated through 20 versions in the same time for free. Krea is built for speed and accessibility. Midjourney is built for raw artistic output. And which one actually fits your workflow is what we're figuring out today. Test 1 is output quality, and this is the one that stings the most when you get it wrong, because you generate a batch for a client and they come back looking like AI slop, something that needed 10 more iterations before it was ready. So which tool actually gives you a finished looking image on the first or second try? I looked at community consensus across both platforms, and Midjourney V6 is pretty much the gold standard right now for photorealistic, polished output. Krea 2 is genuinely good and the community praises it, but getting consistently clean results out of it takes more skill and more iterations. And Midjourney's unpredictability is a double-edged sword, because it can surprise you, but it can also waste your afternoon. Midjourney takes test 1 on output quality, and if you're building anything where the image needs to look finished without a ton of coaxing, that matters a lot. Krea is good, but Midjourney is the one the community keeps pointing to when they want something genuinely polished. So that's 1-0. Midjourney leads. I've spent way too much time inside both of these tools to not have opinions about this. So drop a reply below if the quality gap has ever burned you on a deadline. Test 2 is generation speed, and I hear this objection a lot where people say, Midjourney is slow, but the quality makes it worth it. Okay, but what if you're trying to nail a concept direction, and you need to run through 30 variations in a sitting? Because every minute waiting on a batch render is a minute you're not iterating, and that adds up fast when you're on a deadline. When I dug into the actual feature sets, Krea has real-time generation as a core, documented feature, meaning you're seeing results as you type and adjust rather than waiting on a server queue. And Midjourney's speed varies by plan and server load, with no official benchmarks from either side, so I'm calling this directionally from the feature set, but the direction is pretty clear. Krea takes test 2 on speed, and I didn't expect the gap to feel this structural, but real-time generation versus batch processing is a genuinely different workflow, not just a faster one. And that ties it up at 1-1 with 3 tests still left to go. Test 3 is pricing and credits, and there's nothing more frustrating than wanting to try a new AI image tool and having to hit a paywall before you've even seen a single output, because you're not asking for much, just a chance to see if it fits your workflow before you commit $30 a month. So let's look at what each tool actually costs to get started and to scale. I ran through the official pricing pages for both, and Krea has a free tier. Midjourney does not. And at the standard level, Krea is $20 a month versus Midjourney's $30. And at Pro, it's $40 versus $60. And Midjourney does have a $120 mega plan with no Krea equivalent. So if you're at that scale, your options narrow. But for most people, Krea is cheaper at every meaningful tier. One of the biggest problems I run into when using AI agents is turning their output into YouTube content I can actually use to market my product. That's why this video is sponsored by Subscriber, a tool that helps business owners connect their AI agents to YouTube and market their products without spending 10 hours every week creating content. You can connect Claude or ChatGPT directly to Subscriber. It then analyzes your business, website, and YouTube channel to help you create SEO-optimized video ideas, scripts, thumbnails, and even complete videos that actually match your brand. What I like most is that every week, Subscriber gives me a list of high-potential video ideas I can immediately execute, and it can even help edit videos for me, with or without my face, including videos like the one you're watching right now. It's easy to get started, and you can try Subscriber for free using the link in the description below. Now back to the video. Krea wins pricing, and it's not subtle. A free tier plus cheaper paid plans at every standard level is a real advantage for anyone who isn't already locked into a Midjourney subscription. And that puts Krea ahead 2-1, which is the first time in this comparison where one tool has a clear lead. So Krea is ahead on cost and speed, but style control and platform availability are still on the table. And those two tests are exactly where the argument for Midjourney gets its teeth back. So let's get into style control, because it could completely change how you think about which tool is worth paying for. Test 4 is style control and consistency, and if you're building a brand campaign where you need the same character, same lighting, same visual style across 50 images, you generate the first batch and the character's face changes in every single one. That's not a creative surprise, that's a broken workflow. And documented reliable style and character reference controls are what separate a professional tool from a fun toy. I looked at what's actually documented by each vendor, and Midjourney has officially documented parameters ref for style reference, and cref for character reference, both in their public docs. And Krea has style tools the community praises, but I couldn't find official documentation for a character reference equivalent, which means you're relying on community workarounds rather than a supported feature. And Krea's real-time editing is a genuine advantage for creative direction, but it doesn't close that gap. Midjourney takes Test 4 on style control. Because officially documented parameters, you can actually rely on beat community reported workarounds every time. And that's a real gap for anyone doing professional, repeatable work. So that ties the overall score at 2-2, and it all comes down to the final test. Test 5 is platform availability and limits. And if you're on your phone with a creative idea and you want to generate something right now, with one of these tools you open an app and you're generating in 30 seconds. And with the other, you're hunting for a Discord server on mobile because the web app is still in beta, and that friction is a real daily cost if you're not always at a desk. Krea is on web, iOS, and Android, all fully available right now. And Midjourney is primarily Discord-based with its web app still in beta and no native mobile apps at all, and I checked twice to make sure I wasn't missing something. But Midjourney genuinely doesn't have a native iOS or Android app, which is a pretty big accessibility gap in 2024. Krea wins Test 5 on platform availability, and this one was cleaner than I expected because native iOS and Android apps versus a Discord-first experience with a web beta is a decisive gap. And that puts Krea ahead 3-2 overall, and Krea is your winner. Alright, so if cost and speed are your priorities, this one's pretty clear. It's free to start, cheaper at every standard paid tier, and real-time generation lets you iterate way faster than a batch-based workflow. And native mobile apps on iOS and Android make it the more accessible tool for most people. Midjourney is the pick when output quality is non-negotiable. Its V6 model is the community benchmark for photorealistic, polished images, and its serif and incref parameters give you documented repeatable style and character control that Krea can't match right now. So if your work needs to look finished on the first or second generation, Midjourney is still the standard. If you want to iterate fast and keep costs down, Krea is the move. It's free to start and faster by design. And if you need the best looking image with the least effort and documented style control, Midjourney is still your tool. Because Krea is built for speed and access, and Midjourney is built for polish, and those are genuinely different jobs. One thing that doesn't show up in the pricing pages. Neither platform publishes per generation costs, so you have no idea how many images your monthly credits actually buy until you're mid-project and running low. And Midjourney's mega plan at $120 a month is the only tier with truly unlimited fast generations, which is not clearly documented upfront. If Midjourney is on your shortlist, you'll want to see how it stacks up against its closest rival in the same space. And I did the full breakdown in Ideogram versus Midjourney, and the quality gap there is honestly closer than you'd expect, so go check that one out next.